So it's opening day tomorrow and you're all jazzed up because your trail cam has been taking a lot of pictures of deer movement in the early morning, and your friends talk about all the ones they're seeing on your property. So you set your alarm and you get up well before dawn, and you put on your lucky hat and all your gear and head out. And on the way there, you stop at the Casey's and fuel up the truck and get a few snacks. And then you're at the property and in your blind 15 minutes before shooting light, and you're ready to go. And then for the next 3 hours, you see nothing, bumpkiss, except for that stupid squirrel that's been barking at you all morning. And you're beginning to wonder, where did all the deer go? Well, you may have doomed your hunt before you even started. So let's talk about it. Stick around and I'll be right back. Hey, thanks for sticking around. This is Gen 10-9, where we give common sense advice for everyday fishing and hunting situations for your average sportsman. And today we're talking about odor mitigation. That's right, stink control. If you find the video helpful, then consider hitting like and subscribing. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So to begin with, you should know that researchers estimate a deer's sense of smell to be more than 500 times better than that of a human. You know, it's one of their primary defensive weapons because using their sense of smell, they can tell what's around them before they even see or hear them. So if you offend their sense of smell, then you'll probably never see them. Now, this means that you and I have a problem. And the problem is this: we stink. Your girlfriend or your wife may love how your cologne or your deodorant smells, but not deer. To them, it's an alarm bell. So what this video is about is odor mitigation and cover. Now, to be clear, there's no product that exists that can completely suppress your stink. That product doesn't exist. And the reality is, we smell because bacteria that lives on our body feeds off our oils and our sweat. And that's what gives you and I our distinctive odor. So we have to work hard at shrinking our odor footprint as we walk to the blind and get in the stand. And if we do that, then we have a better chance of getting deer within range. Now, one solution is, if you're crazy, stupid rich, then just buy new hunting gear every week and be done with it. But nobody does that. And if you're stupid rich, then build yourself a cedar-lined closet and have yourself a dedicated washer and dryer for your hunting gear. But who can afford that? Me, I'm crazy, stupid, poor, so I have to take care of my gear. So the first real tip is this: don't wear your hunting clothes while you're driving to the property. Think about it. While you're driving and wearing these warm clothes, you're building up a lot of human sweat, which activates bacteria. And worse yet, you're sitting in a lot of old farts, and you're grinding that bacteria into your clothes as well. So what a lot of smart hunters do is wait till they get to the property before they get dressed. And if it's too cold and you can't do that, then at least wait till you get to the property to put on your outerwear. And that way you're not activating a lot of human bacteria into your hunting clothes. Next, avoid gas stations. You know, convenience stores are permeated with petroleum-based odors like gas and grease and oil. And they also have a lot of unwanted commercial odors like greasy foods and cigarette smoke. So you should always avoid convenience stores before you go hunting. If you think about it, try to fill up the night before so you don't even have to worry about it. And if you're like me and you just have to have that cup of coffee in the morning, then fix your own, or maybe go through the drive-thru at McDonald's. Just know you always want to avoid convenience stores before you go hunting. Next, lose your favorite hat and as much leather products as you can. Generally speaking, our favorite hats, they're just permeated with years of oils and sweats, and they're just odor makers every time you get moisture on them. So every year I go to the expense of buying a new hat and a new set of gloves, and which I promptly lose during turkey season the next spring, so I have to buy new gear anyway. And the same is true about your belts. Here's my everyday belt. Every day I put this belt on, every day I sweat on it and put human oils on it, and so it's an odor maker. So I usually use this cheap hunting belt, which is partly leather, but the exterior is nylon, and nylon is just so much easier to clean and make scentless. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to be as scentless as possible in the woods. And that's why you got to start using full rubber boots. These just minimize ground scent exponentially as compared to leather boots. Now, here are the boots I use during turkey season. It is partially leather, partially mesh, and these are just saturated with sweat and oil and foot odor. And every time I take a step, I compress the boot, and that just spews scent onto the ground. And you just can't clean these boots and make them scentless. It's just impossible. That's not true with rubber boots. You know, rubber boots not only minimize ground scent, but they're also much easier to clean. Every time I put my boots on and I'm walking in the woods and I come across a creek or a puddle in the lane, I take a few seconds and just stomp around in the creek or the puddle and wash off any foreign scent that I might inadvertently put on my boot, and my boots are clean. That's just not true with leather boots. You just can't do that. And so when you go hunting, do yourself a favor. Try to wear clothes that just don't have years of human sweat and oil on them, and lose as much leather products as you can, because all that stuff is just odor makers. And every time you wear them, you're notifying more deer that you're in country. Next, wash your gear in scent-free detergents and air dry them. Now, you gotta know that Downy Fresh is not attractive to deer. It's actually an alarm. It's a foreign or evasive odor in the woods. So do yourself a favor. Always wash your gear in scentless or scent-free detergents and air dry them. Now, personally, I like to wash my gear in a gentle cycle in cold water and then air dry them, and I don't put them in the dryer, because a lot of times our wives are using scented products to make clothes smell fresh in the dryer. And so those odors are still in the dryer when you dry your gear. So that's why I air dry my gear in the backyard. But you gotta know that washing your gear in cold water doesn't always effectively clean or kill the bacteria in your gear. So some guys like to wash their gear in hot water, and the problem with that is hot water tends to fade your gear, and also putting them in a regular cycle or in the dryer, it also tumbles and wicks and balls your hunting clothes. And when your hunting clothes start to get that fabric wicking and balling in them, it tends to give them a white or even a bluish hue. And bluish hue to hunting gear, that's the death knell. Makes your hunting clothes almost virtually unusable, because blue is the most unnatural color in the woods. What blaze orange or blaze yellow is to the human eyesight, blue is to deer eyesight. It's unnatural, and they zero in on it quickly. So you never want to wear anything that's blue in the woods, and you never want your hunting gear to get that whitish, bluish tint to it, because it makes your hunting gear almost worthless. And the best way to do that is to wash your hunting gear in hot water and allow them to tumble dry in your dryer. So I tend to wash my gear in a gentle cycle, cold water, because it doesn't fade the colors as much. And then I air dry them. And that way I get my hunting gear to last long. So pick your poison. Either wash them in hot and get it cleaner, but fade more, or wash them in cold water and air dry them and get them to last longer. But do yourself a favor. Avoid at all costs putting your hunting gear and your hunting clothes in a dryer. And while we're at it, make sure you're using unscented antiperspirant and deodorant before you go in the woods. Now, you can get this product at the big box sporting goods stores, but the fact is, it's not cheap. You can get a product that is twice as good for half as much at Walmart. I went to the store and picked up this Mitchum for Men, triple odor defense, 48-hour protection. I doubt if anything can keep me from stinking after 48 hours. But be that as it may, you should be using unscented deodorant before you go hunting. Now, the best thing to do is to actually shower. And that's right, you guessed it, use unscented soap and shampoo. But who has time for that? So if I were you, I would hit yourself with some unscented antiperspirant deodorant before you go in the woods, and that will greatly shrink your odor footprint while in the stand. Now let's talk about some natural cover scent, and then some scent eliminators, and finally deer attractants. Now some people say you can't really cover human scent while in the woods. Well, I don't know if that's true, but one thing I like to do in order to get some natural cover scent is before I go hunting, I'll grab some cedar or pine needles and I'll rip them off the branch and crush them up in my gloves. And that gives my gloves that natural pine scent. And then I'll take some more and I'll crush them up and I'll put them in my pockets and then put them in my seat where I sit down in my stand. Doesn't work? I don't know. But for my money, it's better than doing nothing. And it makes me feel good about the way I stink. And now let's talk about scent eliminators. Now you really need to be using these products before you go hunting. And I don't know which is the best product. So if you think you know the best product, then leave a comment below. But this stuff is a must because it either kills bacteria or suppresses its activity. And they're really a must in like a 4-day hunting camp situation where you don't have time to go home or access to go home and wash your clothes. And so after each hunt, you want to spray down the outside, then turn your clothes inside out and spray down the inside, and especially the crotch area. And then go set your clothes in direct sunlight because direct sunlight, the UV rays of direct sunlight can kill bacteria. So leave them out to air dry. The worst thing you could do is sit around all day in your hunting gear and then go into the woods because you're just stinking up your hunting gear. So what you need to do is take it off after every hunt and rotate your hunting gear and spray it down with this stuff. Now, even if you're not in a hunting camp, after you get out of the truck and get all your gear on, spray yourself down with this. Spray your hands, your arms, your legs, and most importantly, your exhaust pipe. And that will reduce your odor footprint while you're in the stand. And lastly, I want to talk about a specific type of deer scent. Now, some people call these deer attractants, and I don't think they're deer attractants. In other words, I don't think it will cause one deer to redirect to a different location because they smelled this scent. But I do think that it's more of a deer distractant. And what I mean by that is, when the deer come into your area, they become interested in these cover scents. The product I usually use is called Evercalm, but last time I was in the store, they didn't have it, so I had to buy Code Blue's version of it, which they call a deer calming scent zone. I take this product and I hit the trees around my stand just before I climb up the tree. And it's been my experience that these products do calm deer as they're coming into your area. Now, they're a little pricey. They're anywhere between $20 to $24. But the nice thing about these products is they can last several years. If you just put them in a baggie, and then when you're not using them and you're not hunting them, leave them in the refrigerator in your garage, and they will keep. Whatever you do, don't leave them in your truck all fall and all summer, and then the product just becomes worthless. But I keep them in a baggie in my backpack, and then I take it out and hit the trees around my stand, and I put it back in the baggie, and then I go up the tree because you don't want to have scent with you in the tree. And again, the idea of deer hunting or bow hunting is to be a ninja, to be assassin, and you don't want anything to draw the deer's attention to yourself while you're in the stand. You want to be scentless. So do yourself a favor and pick up Evercalm or a product like it, and that way you can distract deer from your scent footprint. Now let's talk about snacking while we're in the stand. If the first thing you think after opening your snack is, wow, this really smells great, then it means you're eating the wrong types of snacks. Remember, you're trying to reduce your odor footprint wherever you hunt. And that means no Egg McMuffins. Yeah, dogs will come to you because they smell bacon, but deer, not so much. So remember, the more scentless your snack, then the smaller your odor footprint will be wherever you're hunting. And finally, let's talk about the elephant that's in the room. What about that odor-locking hunting clothing? Well, if you can afford that gear, then be my guest. I can't. And besides, even if you're wearing that stuff, you still have to hunt smart. And that means hunting with the wind in your favor. And if you do that, then it's no better than your average country boy's camo. So in the immortal words of Forrest Gump, That's all I have to say about that. If you learned something from the video, then hit like, share, and subscribe. Hey, may the Lord bring a wall hanger by your stand. Thanks for watching, and God bless.